Russian lawmakers on Tuesday passed legislation that finalizes Moscow's exit from the jurisdiction of the European Court of Human Rights, a rupture provoked by Russia's war in Ukraine, opening the door to the reinstatement of the death penalty. The vote came following Russia's expulsion from the Council of Europe in March after President Vladimir Putin sent troops to Ukraine on February 24. The move deprived Russians of what many activists saw as the last hope for justice and crushed efforts to integrate the country into the international rights framework, observers say. Parliament's lower house, the Duma, approved two bills, one removing the country from the court's jurisdiction and a second setting March 15 as the cutoff point, with rulings against Russia made after that date not to be implemented. The bills were passed nearly unanimously, with only one deputy from the opposition Communist Party voting against. They must now be signed by President Vladimir Putin before becoming law. The European Court of Human Rights has become an instrument of political battle against our country in the hands of Western politicians, Vyacheslav Volodin, Speaker of Lower House of Parliament, the State Duma, said following the vote. Some of its decisions were in direct contradiction to the Russian constitution, our values and our traditions, he said in a statement. Russia had been under the jurisdiction of the European Court of Human Rights, overseen by the continent's top rights organization, for more than 20 years, becoming its biggest purveyor of cases. As part of the amendments, Russia will not carry out rulings of the ECHR that were issued after March 15. The day Moscow said it would pull out of the Council of Europe after pressure mounted for Moscow to be expelled. Volodin added that any future payouts that were ordered before March 15 would only be paid in rubles and into Russian bank accounts. The legislation also stipulates that Russian courts have the power to overrule decisions of the ECHR. The so-called Ruxit from the Council of Europe will have far-reaching consequences. Campaigners have warned of a potential intensification of a clampdown on Russia's embattled civil society amid Moscow's military campaign in Ukraine, worsening abuse of prisoners, and a possible reinstatement of the death penalty. In 2017, the court ordered Moscow to pay compensation to survivors of a hostage crisis who alleged failings on the part of the security services when they stormed a school seized by Islamist militants in 2004. The siege in the town of Beslan ended in a bloody gun battle in which more than 330 hostages died, including at least 180 children. In February 2021, the ECHR ruled that Navalny, the country's leading opposition figure, should be released from prison after being jailed on charges he described as politically motivated. Russia described the ECHR's ruling as unlawful. Navalny on Tuesday lost an appeal contesting the decision by penitentiary officials to label him as inclined to commit crimes of a terrorist or extremist nature. Last year, the ECHR also found Russia responsible for the assassination of Alexander Litvinenko in London in 2006. The outspoken critic of Putin died after he drank tea poisoned with polonium-210, a rare and highly radioactive isotope. It was reported last week that Dmitry Kovchin, one of the two primary suspects in the assassination of the British citizen, had died from COVID-19. Russia was admitted to the Council of Europe, which was founded after World War II to promote human rights and democracy in Europe, under President Boris Yeltsin in 1996. After the 2014 annexation of Crimea, Russia was stripped of its voting rights in the Council's Parliamentary Assembly, which it began to boycott from 2016. On March 15, the Committee of Ministers of the Council of Europe decided to expel Russia from the organization, of which the ECHR is part, in response to Russia's deployment of troops to Ukraine in February. Russia has said that it independently decided to leave the Council of Europe, with former President Dmitry Medvedev saying that Russia's exit from the organization represented an opportunity to restore the death penalty.